Well, hello, and before you can say deja vu, here we are just a couple of weeks out from yet another tax year end. And this might be a really good time, if you haven't done so already, just to check that you've made best use of all your major tax allowances, particularly your ISA and your pension, but also if you have a collective, your capital gains tax allowance, and maybe if you're a little bit more adventurous, you might look at venture capital trusts as well. All of these things that we can have conversations with over the next couple of weeks if you want to. We'll be doing some background checks as well, just to make sure that if you have got allowances left, we'll be in touch with you and we'll let you know. But you can also have a quick look on the Quilter app if you want, which is a fantastic thing if you haven't already got it on your smartphone. You can look in each of your investments and it will tell you how much you invested in with your ISA in particular, what allowance you've got left. What you can also do with your ISA, if you do have allowance left, on the Quilter app, in just 2 clicks, you can top the thing up. Really easy. Beyond the mechanics of this as well, I think it's also important to say a few words about the context. Because you may or may not see in the news that Rachel Reeves is about to make a spring statement, used to be the budget, but it's now called the spring statement. And they're talking about making very significant spending cuts. Now, the reason for this is we have a massively indebted government. The cost of that debt, because of the previous administration, is much higher than expected. And in her last budget, Rachel Reeves made some changes that she hoped would promote growth to get us out of that particular hole. Now, unfortunately, the revenues for that haven't really come through, and it's now being further undermined by the new incumbent in the Oval Office, Donald Trump, and his tariffs, which are leading investment markets to tank a little bit on the basis of the tariffs that he's put in place, and we'll talk more about that another time. Bottom line is the government can't afford the level of spending it's got, and that makes tax allowances vulnerable. Added on to that, Europe seems to have woken up to the fact that a resurgent Russia is going to need them to step up and defend themselves, that America probably isn't coming with this administration, and they're going to have to spend more on defence. And when you look at the numbers, Keir Starmer in his recent announcement, he's talking about spending another 13 billion quid on defence. Now, it would just so happen that if you equalised capital gains tax rates with income tax rates, basically you did away with capital gains tax allowances, that would actually raise 13 billion. You could raise 3 or 4 times that if you eliminated higher rate tax relief on pensions, so that everyone got basic rate tax and no more regardless of how much they earned. So you can see how those having to make these decisions in the Treasury and the Chancellor might look at tax allowances that they could reduce or eliminate to cover their spending without undermining their previous pledges to not raise income tax. It also has to be said that you could actually pay for all of this with a 1% increase or 1p in the pound with income tax, but we'll have to see what she says. The important point with this is I would take a look at your tax allowances and how you've used them up, particularly ISA and your pension this year, because there's probably greater political vulnerability on those than there's been in a little while. So it's a good job if we can use those up. Anyway, that's enough for now. We'll be in touch with you if you've got some allowances left, and if you want to have a chat with us, then you know where to find us. We'll speak to you soon.